Alright, we're back with another episode of the Dinklepack, which is now the Ashen Order, so never mind. We're back with another episode of the Ashen Order with our Volpera Shaman, and we have a small group of friends with us this time because we're going to be doing some RFC. I did level up a little bit more. I've been gone. I was up in Oregon. There was a wildfire where I was staying, essentially. And we all got evacuated, so that's fun. Let me turn on my camera. Sorry. I'm sure people want to see my beautiful face. But yeah, there was a fire, and like zero containment, so got evacuated. Like the first night, I was like, oh, it's snowing, and you look up and it's not snow, it's ash. So yeah, that was interesting experience. So hopefully everyone's doing okay up there. No one's lost their homes or anything, but some idiot left something burning at a campfire. So anyway, yeah, so we're doing RFC. I have been working on the Shaman extensively. Let me show you. So some of the tier sets for Elemental really sucked for like tier 4 and tier 5 and tier 6 kind of. Apparently I need to fix that, but basically I increased the spell power gained on tier 4 set. We increased the damage dealt by your elemental blast. That's right. I made an elemental blast spell for Wrath of the Lich King. And the tier 5 set now just reduces your cast time of Elemental Blast and Lava Burst, and then increases damage of your Lava Burst and Molten Cleave. So, yeah, been working on that. I've been working on the tier 3 set bonuses and tier 2.5, got those sorted out. I just need to frickin' make the gear sets. I want to do stuff with the Ice Crown sets as well. Sorry, the Wrath of the Lich King sets. Since some of those are passive abilities for shamans now, but yeah. So let's do some RFC. There's some new crafted items as well that I've been working on for the blacksmithing, leatherworking. Is it leatherworking? Or maybe blacksmithing? One of these. I've been doing some new professions recently, so anyway, one thing that I liked in our previous repack that I did was the fact that they had some of the starter quests in some of the dungeons that you did. And so I went ahead and did that, at least for RFC. I don't know if I'll do it for other dungeons. I'll probably do it here and there. There's part of me that's kind of conflicted about this, but if people don't want it, they can just easily delete the NPC. So what does Elemental Blast do? Well, a couple other changes, actually. Elemental Blast, harness and direct the raw power of the elements toward your enemy target, dealing elemental damage and increasing the caster's critical strike, or haste by 5%, or spell damage and healing by 8% for 8 seconds. And damage is based on a combination of your intellect and spell power. I only wanted to make one rank, so that's why it's a combination of your intellect and spell power. And then you get 3 potential buffs. I made some custom aura visuals for said buffs as well. But it hits them 3 times with a nature, fire, and frost damage spell, which is a good or bad thing, depending. So the mobs that you hit will have higher potential to resist at least one of your spells, but anyway, I don't know. I like it. I prefer it that way. I know I could have just made it like have more than one spell school and just did one spell, but I liked the idea of having 3 separate spells come out with 3 different schools. So let me show you again. So Elemental Blast, get a buff, casting, yeah. Then I did some changes to Fire Nova as well. Hey, how's it going, Steven? Just want to say thank you, or just want to say your WoW videos are top notch and very much appreciated. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. It's good to hear. Yeah, I need to do some more actual production videos. I'll probably be doing that here soon. It's just been kind of crazy with life and kids and stuff, so I just have only managed to do live streams lately. So yeah, so changes to Fire Nova. Rather than it igniting where your fire totem is, it's actually going to emit Fire Nova on whatever targets are afflicted with Flame Shock. So Flame Shock, Fire Nova. I liked this change in Cataclysm. It just makes more sense than just having it connected to a totem. You get a lot more control, and I realized that that'll probably increase the amount of AoE damage you can do as a Shaman, which is fine, because they need a little bit of a buff anyway. But yeah, so that's a thing. And again, we're doing challenges. So challenges are 300% increased damage taken, 50% reduced experience, and I can't eat or drink, except make camp doesn't count, so yeah. But yeah, I think I'm gonna probably continue with the essentials video, and then go from there. I'd like to do some form of video on spell enchantments, because people have been asking about that. There's a lot of cool things that you can do with spell enchantments. I'll show you one as soon as I have it. Get like no mana at low levels. An elemental blast is free. I thought about making it give you mana back, but that's okay. Changed a couple talents around too, so like Call of Thunder, your lightning shield spell grants you 2% mana back every 5 seconds while active, so rather than using your water shield, you'll be using lightning shield. Increase the number of charges. I'm probably going to do something else with lightning shield. I really like the fulmination effect from Cataclysm, where your earth shock does increase damage depending on your lightning shield stacks, and you gain stacks from casting lightning bolt and chain lightning and stuff. But yeah. Steven says, had me actually get into SQL and Lua. It's been really fun messing with it. Yeah, I think Lua is a really good place to start. That's pretty much how I got started. When I came into WoW emulation, I didn't really know much apart from Lua and SQL. I knew some C#, but most of the classes I'd taken in school were just from Lua and SQL kind of stuff. HTML, useless stuff. But yeah, there's a lot you can do with Lua, a lot you can do with SQL. And I'm really glad I delved into C++ eventually. I think once you get confident enough with Lua, it's really easy to go over to C++. So, Holo says, "Well, glad I got to a stream on time, even I can't read, even though I have been up the whole night." Well, you should stay up longer if you ask me. Really just want better mana at the moment. It sucks that I can't, like, eat or drink. Anyway. So first boss, the two extra bosses that are in this dungeon right now were made by Belgarth, and I retuned them because they were kind of tuned stupidly. Love you, Belgarth. But their abilities are the same. I just, some of the resistances and armor and stuff like that was like, why? So and then yeah, made some gear for them as well. Although it says make a rest abilities that lets you regen a little bit of mana. Yeah, we kind of have that. We have Soothing Resurgence. I think I reduced the cooldown on it recently. Maybe not in the live update, but it's 3 minutes at the moment. And technically I can use Make Camp and not lose. But it's a 30-minute cooldown, which is pretty useless, so, you know. Maybe there's something... Arcane Torrent, maybe? probably don't need Dark Flight at the moment, so I'll probably go with Arcane Torrent. Passives. I should probably do some mana regen. Let's do that one. I feel like there's another one. Probably just do Heroic Presence so that my group can hit more. Weapon, I'm not using a mace, I'm using a sword. And profession, I should do a shield spec thing, but yeah, profession stuff doesn't matter right now. And I should probably, I did get my professions up a little bit. I should have a healing spell from Herbalism, right? No, I don't have that yet. That's okay. I've also been working on some crazy cool enchantments. This is just a test, but it's probably going to be part of the Dinkle forging system. This is kind of what it's going to look like. I'll show you real quick. But basically, this is an enchantment. You can put it on... This one, you put it on your legs, but it's probably going to be your neck. And permanently enchant your pants with the following effect. While Lightning Shield is active, 20% of your intellect is converted into haste rating. Enchanting the item causes it to become soulbound. So, got my legs, right? And this will obviously be in a profession window. So it'll make more sense. But then you get the effect like that. And then I have to recast Lightning Shield, but so now I get haste rating 20% in accordance to my intellect. And then when I remove it, that haste rating is also removed, so just kind of fun to mess around with. But I'm going to remove that for now because I feel like that's cheating a bit. Are weapon spec going to stay like that, or will they also get custom things like staves? You know, I think we do have staves. Didn't I implement staves? I swear I implemented staves. Staff specialization, casting spells while wielding a staff reduces cast time of your spells by 4% for 10 seconds. Steven asks, is this on your online server or is it a locally hosted server? So this is just my personal private solo single player server. Public Realm I really need to update this week. I just have been lazy about it. And then, yeah, honestly no one plays on Public Realm currently. Just because I do a horrible time advertising it. I should have pulled back. That's okay. We'll probably die here, but... yeah, I do a horrible job advertising it, and I honestly don't really want to upkeep a public server at the moment. Although, at this point I can, because things are stable enough. So it's just a matter of... like... motivation at this point. I just pulled the boss. So this boss will randomly fear different people, which sucks at this level. Because no one can dispel your fears. When you're like feared half the time. But well, the pub realm could bring, let's see, could bring an option for getting 10-man raid ready or so. Yeah, and I mean we have people who play regularly. It used to be a little bit more regular when things were early. I think if I just did a relaunch, quote unquote, we'd probably get more people. But again, this was originally booked as a single player project anyway, so it's kind of hard to... I'd have to basically just do the public realm if I wanted it to be any bit successful, I guess is what it would come down to. And we're gonna die. I'm gonna use my sprint ability just to get away. I put my stamina bar at the top. Oh, they actually reset in here. That's not supposed to happen. Or maybe they're attacking... Oh, they're attacking a different guy. Okay. Ooh, that almost wanted that. Like, that's like a lot of damage for Fireball. Anyway, yeah, there used to always be at least 2 to 3 people on, most of the times alone on there. Let's see. Sitting at a lake. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, maybe I should do a better job of advertising it. I think it's also just an easy way to get a cease and desist. So I'm trying to avoid that. But anyway. What else? Talents. Did I really change anything? I think I changed a couple things. I think Elemental Reach I still need to change to include... Oh, yeah, I changed it. Anyway, so glad the whole single player WoW thing has got popular. This game's a ton of fun solo, more fun than a lot of single player games, in my opinion. Yeah, I just like WoW. I think WoW has been... It's my comfort food, I guess you could say, for gaming. I'm gonna pull back. But yeah, I think I'm very glad I got into WoW emulation when I did. I think sometimes I feel sad in some sense that the scene is dying. Like there's not as many projects going on, but I feel like some of them are coming back. I also feel like emulation as a whole is just better than it used to be, even though there's less people doing it. I pull that thing back. But yeah, it's an interesting like conundrum where yeah, there's less people doing it, but it's still better than it was. Wish I could freaking interrupt. Yeah, just like the tools are better now too. I feel like some of that probably has to do with ChatGPT. I think it's enabled a lot of people to get into stuff easier. It's just been hard to find any like good information online. And which is why I started the channel to begin with, was because I just felt like there was a lot of guides that didn't really teach you anything, or if they did, it was outdated. Shaman getting Earthquake, or is that for now pushed back? Let's see. Sorry, Holo said, first of all, nah, don't worry, for now, focus on what you want to do. The realm is just nice for those who don't want to get the repack running. Yeah, I mean, that's always been the purpose of the public realm, is for people who are lazy and don't care about GM powers. But yeah, are Shaman getting Earthquake, or is that now pushed back? I think it's going to be a level 61 to 70 talent. That's kind of where I'm at with it. I don't... Here's the thing. Yes, I'm adding new spells to Shaman. Is it going to create crazy amounts of power creep for them? I don't think so. First of all, it takes up a casting... like, it's a casted spell. If it was a passive, I'd be concerned. And yes, you do get some small passives from Elemental Blast, but I feel like they're pretty weak. And are not going to break anything in the long run. Ooh, nice. Got the male tunic of the physician or whatever. But anyway, I think it can hurt things in the long run. Like, yeah, Earthquake will probably just be a one cast thing. I don't know if I like it being able to stack like it did in some versions of the game. I mean, I have the spell visual ready for it. Like, that's the spell visual for Earthquake. It looks really good. But it's, yeah, I'm going to have to figure out how to balance that one, because I feel like we're in a pretty good spot with Shaman at the moment, at least in terms of AoE. But I really do like Earthquake. I think it's a great spell. Also, the Ashen Order is the best custom repack out there. Thanks, man. I don't know of many other custom repacks out there. I think I cornered the market on that one, to be honest. So that's, you know, it's like telling your wife that she's your favorite wife, and you only have one wife, hopefully. Steven, as someone without a big programming background, getting into emulation seems steep. C++ looks very, very scary. Well, in a couple months, you'll be a lot more familiar with Lua, and you may even get bored or tired of the limitations that it has. And usually when you get sick of the limitations that it offers is usually when people start to branch out. I spent a lot of time initially just converting my Lua scripts to C++ for performative reasons. Like, yes, you can do spell scripts in Lua, sort of. It's a lot less efficient if you do that, but it's a good way to learn. And I think spell scripts are also a really good way to start. Just look for like certain spell effects that are similar to what you want to do in C++, and then kind of copy those, but change names and like numbers around and read things. But yeah, it's only scary once you don't like anything else. Once you get better at it, once you have more knowledge of it, it becomes less scary. But in order to do that, you actually have to spend time doing it, right? So yeah, but I mean, get your kicks in with Lua is what I'd say, and then go from there. There's seriously so much stuff you can just do with Lua. Like all my other developers on the team are pretty much Lua or SQL people or DBC people, and they get a lot done. We get stuff done like easy collections in Lua. So this entire UI menu, right? This was also written in Lua. Other stuff like that. Our new talent system's written in Lua. There's a lot of good use cases for Lua that are not just eLuna. But yeah, everything is scary when you first start, is what Holo said, and I couldn't agree more. But eventually, over time, you just get better at it. Wouldn't say, yeah, I don't know. As someone who learns languages for fun, I find it enjoyable. I think sometimes it's also frustrating, but that's just part of language learning in general. And so it's nice to learn though and see what failures you're making or what's not working, because that's important later on for when you're actually trying to do something else. It's like, oh yeah, I can't do that here because before I tried that and it didn't work, so I had to do this workaround. And you'll keep track of those things. You'll either write them down or you'll keep them in your head or whatever. But yeah, I think the failures in coding are just as important, and a lot of people are only where they're at currently because of the failures that they've made. So yeah. I forget that I have Arcane Torrent. Let's see. I feel like that should be like a 1-minute cooldown at this point, just because of all the other racial abilities that we have that are better. Like, I get that would be annoying in PvP potentially, but I'm not really balancing around PvP to begin with, so yeah. I think it's just hard to keep everything balanced. I think that if you're gonna do private server, you should probably just do one or the other if you're gonna have custom content, because Blizzard has spent a lot of times trying to rebalance both. And they did successfully do that to some extent when it came to later expansions like Legion. I know that they had stat templates for PvP and PvE, but I don't like that either. I don't mind having like PvP gear. I think that was a good addition in TBC to have resilience. But yeah, I just think stats are your stats, and that's the way they should be in all scenarios. And your spells shouldn't do more or less damage just because of like what map you're on. So most of the time, I think for some situations that's fine, but that's right, these guys are immune to fire. Just gonna conserve my mana for the next fight. So Belgarth, I know you might be watching this later. So kind of what I was talking about with the new talent system. Obviously, yes, have our 4th trees if you want. Those can be active by the time we're 61, just so I don't have to create new spell ratings, like you say. I don't mind. It depends on how many new 4th trees that we're gonna do. Maybe I'm okay later on making them level 1 to 60 as well, but so basically these current talents will be our 1 to 60 talents, and then we'll have like 2 more rows, and that'll be 61 to 70, and then 71 to 80, right? But again, like the new talent points that you get should only be applied to the new talents. If that makes sense, because I do worry about some of the overlap in trees for getting new talent points, so I'm just kind of clarifying that from our conversation earlier. The talent system is a very tricky thing to get right. Like, you can mess with spells and you can mess with set bonuses and stuff like that, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of benefit to having like hero talents rather than adding a deeper layer of complexity through talent trees. So we're kind of doing a mixture of two. And we might have to reshuffle some things around, because I do worry about power creep. I don't think it's going to get to the levels of like your, these 255 servers or whatever. But as long as we can keep stats and damage and stuff like that in a reasonable level, I'm happy with things. I'm fine doing more damage than you would normally, like in the base version of the game or whatever. That's fine. I'm fine with that. But it's a fun fight, by the way. But yeah, I mean, I just have to rework a couple other things too. So obviously, I think NPC damage, like increasing raid boss damage and health, is the easiest thing to do if you want to deal with power creep. The other thing you can do is nerf other talents, and other passives, I guess you could say. My biggest really hang up is going to be bots, because I do want bots to have access to certain new abilities, but I also am kind of lazy and might just give them damage multipliers for certain level ranges, I guess. Also, those feet don't have armor. Oh, thank you. You know what? I didn't notice that. Thanks. I wonder if the other stuff has armor on it. I need to write a note now. Put armor on feet. RFC drops. Should give it negative armor. I should probably check the other armor as well. Oh, that one does. I'm trying to use existing item IDs because we have so many item IDs, rather than create new ones at this point, but they're just blank transmog IDs, so. Let's see, what kind of damage numbers would it even be in... Sorry, I'm going to wait for a second, because maybe some people just got an ad. I try to stop those during stream. I only like ads after stream, if that makes sense. But if I can stop them during stream, then I'll do that. So yeah, so what kind of damage numbers would it even be in TBC? Well, right now, we're doing a lot of damage in vanilla. Here's what I think. I'd be fine doing Wrath numbers in TBC, and in Wrath I'd be fine doing like 20k DPS kind of stuff. Like that to me is fine. It means like I can still, again, like increasing boss health and damage is like the easiest thing to deal with. So I'm not too worried about that. I do worry about things that cause like exponential damage increases. So stuff that stacks that shouldn't, to where you're doing like 1 million hits or whatever with your abilities. That's stuff I worry about, but yeah. Is there even anything relevant up here? I don't think so. I think it's just that, but I do have a quest over here. Let's go do that. Because right now I feel like we're doing... I mean, most people can do parsing numbers, like top world parsing numbers in Nax 40 at the moment. A little bit more. So, yeah, I mean, level 60 damage is pretty high at the moment. But that's expected with Wrath talents. And I don't think that your damage is actually that much higher since some of the custom changes that we've done. It really hasn't been increased that whole much. Like, so, at least from a DPS perspective, I know some classes have improved, but I'm talking about the overall damage. So, like Fury Warrior, or what else does good damage? Fire Mage, like, yes, they do a little bit more damage, but it's not like, oh my gosh, this is crazy amounts of damage. You're still like 2,000 DPS is really good, but it's not like insane. And yes, it's unheard of in vanilla, but again, Wrath talents, if you just take the Wrath talents and not the custom stuff, like, it's not that bad. Maybe a 400 DPS increase. Maybe a little bit more. But yeah, and it depends on the class. I feel like certain specs in general have just needed help, right? So Shaman Elemental has needed help. Enhancement has needed help. Frost Mages needed help. Fire didn't need help, but I changed some stuff anyway and made them stronger. Whoops. Arcane needed help because its rotation was just boring. But most of these like boring rotation changes that I make don't actually make the class do a lot more damage. It just makes it feel better and do slightly more damage. I'd say probably Paladins, yeah. I mean, I'm a bias towards Paladins, so they do a bit more damage than they should, but that's okay. And I did like increase a lot of their passives for damage output in general because it was just so bad. But yeah, I mean, I really don't think going from base Wrath damage to Dinklepack damage is really that bad. Paladins at heart, yeah. I mean, What have I really changed? I'd say the legendaries probably more than anything caused a power creep. However, legendaries have two things, right? They have the stats baked onto them. They sometimes have a spell effect that procs, and you have a special spell effect. And that is getting changed. So if we just do, when we do the Dinkleforging, again, that's just a placeholder name. You're just gonna get the special effect, and it's only gonna be on your neck probably, unless I'm nice and want to do like waist or something, or neck and cloak. It just depends on how much power creep we have, right? I'm trying to be mindful of that. So one of the things that I regretted was letting you socket every piece of gear in vanilla, which is something that I took a step back on. Especially once I released like blue level gems, because we had the green gems or white gems for a while, which I turned to green. But yeah, I feel like we needed to cut that back significantly. The other thing that's probably not going to change is stat boost. So the current stats that you see now on items for stat boost are probably going to remain the same in TBC. So whatever the max is that you see on vanilla items currently, that's going to be the max in TBC. So those two things are probably the biggest things. But legendaries helped a lot for some classes, yeah, and they sucked for others. You know, for bots they sucked, kind of, because some of them work with bots and some of them don't. I should probably do a better job in the future of making things work with bots, but at the same time, I just don't know if I care. Max is 8, I think. 8 what? Sorry, I'm trying to think. For stat boost, yeah, sorry. So I think on some things you can get 9. Yeah. But again, I also just added additional power creep with Warforging, but those are just select items. You know, and I tried to keep those at reasonable item levels, I guess you could say. I think the maxed Titan Forged item level at the moment is like 1 or 2 pieces of gear from Nax that are item level 105, maybe 107. But yeah. So anyway, I don't think I'm gonna do the socket tier, the socket punch thing anymore for TPC. So, which is fine. I think it's good to have different forms of power progression between expansions. Warfare gems are, yeah. Let's see. Warfare gems are rather though. Yeah, you need a few tries to get them. Yeah, so got super low, super low drop rates. I even threw in. Did I just pull a crap ton of mobs? Yes, I did. I'm gonna run to the entrance real quick. Yeah, I mean the Titan Forging stuff is like a 0.025% chance, or 0.25% chance, or something like that. It's super low. And then Warforging in general is like a 4%, something like that. So, and then and I plan on continuing with that. And thing with TBC too is we're gonna have Mythic Plus, so it's fine to have additional power creep because there's gonna be harder content. Content that scales. So I'm not, again, like, we're gonna have the content for it, right? I think that if you're gonna add power creep, then you want to have content that's gonna be more challenging. So that's kind of where we're at. And we have challenges. We have dungeon challenges and raid challenges, and that's increased the difficulty of things. And so I think that's been a good way to balance out the power creep, is to do those challenges. So granted, those challenges do have additional rewards and whatnot, but yeah, I kind of want to show what's in these. Some of the stuff from Season of Discovery I've actually been adding to some of the challenge caches. I actually added a couple more crafting things that were from Season of Discovery that wasn't necessarily crafted, but anyway. To be honest, can't wait to what you cook up for that. Yeah, I think Mythic Plus is going to be a lot easier going forward. Because I have the base done. Dungeon challenges and instance challenges, they're done. And so that's basically the affix system I'm going to be using in TBC. Obviously I'm going to do different affixes. I need to add some variation in there. I think some of them are kind of boring. And we can make them more interesting pretty easily. But the only thing that's really left to do for Mythic Plus is just damage and health scaling of mobs, which is super easy. Like, it's not... That's super easy. So, then we have Mythic Plus. And I'll probably do Keystones too, which is going to require me to do a crap ton of permutations on items. But, at least with the Keystones, we'll probably max out at, like, Mythic plus 10, I don't know, and go from there. I'll probably start with 10 levels of Mythic Plus. Yeah, do you know what the highest key will be at the start? Probably 10, and I'll probably increase from there. The rewards, I'll probably bunch up, so like... I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to do the weekly chest either. I'll have to figure that out. But I think what I'll probably end up doing is like an item that spawns your weekly chest and has loot based off the highest key that you have for that week. So it's like an item spawning chest thing, I guess, but we'll see. I think 10 is a good way to go, but I'll probably do rewards for 1 to 3, 4 to 6, and then 7 through, or I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. I might even just start with 8 levels of Mythic Plus. I think 8's fine. It's a good even number. That way I can do... No. Or maybe even 7. I don't know. We'll see. Test to have... so yeah, I would test the waters and have it lower Mythic Plus at first to also see how you're going to make the weekly chest. Yeah, I think probably... So, I take it back. Even numbers are harder to distribute loot for. Odd numbers are easier, so if I had 7 levels, it'd be 1 through 3, and 4 or 5 for second level, and then 6 and 7 for the third, I guess. So, and then I could add on to that, right? So, I don't know. Either way. 7 or 8 or 10. I'd rather start with the smaller number just because it's easier to create loot for fewer levels, I guess. So really bad about setting talents down, or totems, I mean. But yeah, I still think that also the big difference with Mythic Plus in TBC is going to be the fact that like dungeons will actually have unique reward for Mythic Plus content, because right now it's just pretty much raids that have rewards, and that's because vanilla dungeons are kind of all over the place when it comes to difficulty. So but yeah, it's probably going to be next year that I have anything done with Mythic Plus for TBC. I really think that my approach starting next year is just going to be, okay, look, I've done a lot in vanilla, I don't have everything done, but I want to do some work in TBC, I'm going to do some work in TBC. So it'll probably be one of those things where I'm straddling 2 expansions. And I have that freedom because this is a repack that's going to be around forever. My mind, at least. So I can hop back and forth as much as I want. And I think that Chromicraft is probably going to be done with like Black Temple by the end of the year. I don't know if they're going to be done with Sunwell. I'm hopeful that they will be. So, yeah, a lot of things done in vanilla, and if you want to go and give some love to TBC, go for it. Yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing with some of the tier sets, but yeah. Anyway. Let's see, what quest do I have? I have 2 completed. Gotta kill this guy, and I think... I don't know where these are. I haven't really done quests for Horde vanilla dungeons. Dang it. Why did you pull? You pulled everything, brah. Let's see. I probably need to tune Elemental Blast down a bit. I probably won't be able to do so until we get to level 60 though. Because like I say, each of the spells is based off of intellect and spell power, so it takes 25% of your intellect as a base, and then it's 80% of your spell power as the damage. Might drop it down to 75. It's hard to judge with Fragile Warrior on, but I think 75 is probably going to be fine. Seems fine so far, yeah. I think I started out with 150% increased, or 150% of spell power and 50% of your intellect, and that was definitely too much, so I've slowly been whittling it down. But and then we also have... So I also realized that I was going to do pretty crappy damage at lower levels, so I give basically a parabolic arc of well, it's an inverse arc. So lower levels will account more intellect as their base for the spell until you reach level 60. Then it's normalized to level 1. So, and slowly as you level up, your intellect contributes less, so I'd gladly take 150%, so gimme, yeah. I think other people would too. But yeah, I mean, some of the damage numbers might be a little bit higher, like I said, but you also gotta think that our boss damage and health is higher as well. Significantly. That said, I still have to balance things around bots, and I think it's gotten easier to balance around them as I've been adding more mechanics for them to do. So, I think I can give that to someone right now. Again, this was done with Lua. That sucks.
The eternal sun guides us.
Class balance-wise, all classes are good. Yeah, I mean, I think some can use improvements, like Feral. And yeah, I'm fine with like some imbalance, like certain classes should do more damage. Like I feel like if you're a pure DPS class, like Mage or Warlock, you should probably do more damage. I'm also okay if like Shadow Priest does more damage. And then rogues I have no idea what to do with because I really don't play them, so I'm going to have to use other people's feedback on that. But I'll also be reworking a lot of the Warlock tier sets here soon, so... Combat Rogue needs some kind of love. Assassination feels nice thanks to the legendary. I did change one talent on one of the specs, can't remember. It was one of the earliest iterations. But yeah, combat, definitely. And I think some of that's going to be evened out with some of the new talents that we come up with as well. Can make sure to address some of that. It's hard for me to test everything unless I'm like max level and actually doing raid bosses with everything, and maybe I should just create one of each character with each spec. But I just, man. Yeah, this is the custom assassination spell, yeah. Wow, it's late. Death Knight's in a good spot. I have no idea. I doubt we're going to do a 4th tree for Death Knight. But mages are getting a tanking spec. And then hunters, I think we're going to have a melee spec for as well. And thank you, Hello, I appreciate it. And yeah, it's helpful. I think what's also helpful is yes, the damage meters that you send. So the more often you can send those, the better. But I also need like a breakdown of your gear, if that makes any sense. Your spec, that kind of thing. It helps. And then like if an ability is doing ass damage and we need to increase it or something, we can do that too. Yeah, Frost, the only changes I've made is pretty much reverting some of the later changes that were made in Wrath for Frost. I've thought about doing Remorseless Winter for Frost. We might end up doing that.
Our enemies will fall.
In fact, I think I have. Yeah, 801.019. See, that visual didn't work out at all. But anyway, that's the time I play around in Tier 3. We'll start testing Tier 2 and Tier 1 at 1.2. I think Tier 3 is actually a good benchmark. Yeah, Tier 3 is a good benchmark. So I'm fine with that. You don't need to do that much. I am worried I'm going to have to tone back something for Ret Paladins once I release Tier 2.5 and Tier 3. I don't have set bonuses made up for them yet. But I do... Here's the other thing too, is I've had to do a lot of guesswork on stats for tier sets for off specs. And luckily, Season of Discovery is releasing those itemizations for those. Some of them are a little crazy, but I think tier sets are pretty well balanced for the off specs, and the revamped ones is kind of what I would do. So I'm probably gonna steal their stat sets for their stat budget at least. I don't care about their set bonuses. I think they're pretty garbage, but their stat budget is really the biggest thing that's a pain. I feel like Ret Paladin tier 2 has a lot of strength on it, and that needs to be addressed at some point. So most times I play, yeah. So let's see. T3, the weakest class I tested was Hunter, and yeah, I think I feel like I redid something on tier 3 with Hunter recently. No, I didn't. I mean, I did change one of their set bonuses already, but I also feel like, well, what did I do? Let's see. Let me look at that. Changes. So Hunter tier 3 6-piece and 8-piece bonuses have been reworked. So I guess I did redo those. Also, they're 2, 4, 6, 8 for other sets now. Let's see. Right, so I feel like that didn't show up. Did I not rework the 8-piece? So I think the range criticals, let me look at the original set bonuses. Let's see, tier 3. Grip Stalker. Maybe I never actually applied it, but I know I made the spells before I left. Headpiece. Whoops, wrong one. So oops. Increases duration of rapid fire by 4 seconds is all it does. And reduces cooldown by 30 seconds is an addition I made. So increases attack bar by 50 for both you and your pet. Ours increases attack bar by 50 for you and your raid members within 40 yards. Range hits cause an adrenaline rush, granting you 50 mana. So your range critical hits cause an adrenaline rush, granting 220 mana, and increasing your armor penetration by 20 for 8 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. Reduces mana cost of your multi-shot and aim shot by 20. And I should probably just redo the 8-piece to increase damage of those two abilities. So we'll go with that. But I think you got a new ammo and buffed Lone Wolf. Yeah, I did that too. So I think right now on the repack they're probably a bit better. So you'll have to let me know. Especially with the new ammo. I'm curious. Obviously, bots can't benefit from that kind of ammo, but I wonder if I can actually buff their ammo a bit, though, because I feel like I just need it. I gotta figure out what the calculation is for that, though. Let's look. Well, not right now, but skip ads. Because I know it's based on your level. And yeah, I never added ammo for guns. But I think you're not even using guns in an axe to begin with, so... Plus, I hate guns. hunter bots are weird, yeah. Did change a couple things on them. Like, they'll do their ranged abilities in melee now. Just like players, because I got rid of the dead zone on players. But I swear I remember that thing being like a quest. Am I done with my quests? Yeah, I am done with my quests, so I can leave whenever. But I feel like there's more quests in here that I need to pick up elsewhere. Maybe not. So yeah, that's pretty much... Actually, did we get the last boss? I know there's a guy up there. Let's just do a full run. He's got an axe, but the crossbow drops from KT. Yeah, plus I did a Warforge and Titan Forging of the... I think it's Soul String is what it's called. Yeah, I did. So you got that, which is 83 item level. Then you have that, which is 85. 90. Then 95. It's that one. Not sure if the Orc or the Warlock drops gear. Yeah, I don't think he does either. Did we? I think we did him already, though. Yeah, we killed him. Right there. Okay. I'm gonna go turn in some quests, then. Maybe it'll bring me up to level 15. Yeah, some of the gear that dropped here, because we did end up... I'm kind of, at this point, regretting that we reverted a lot of items from Wrath that were upgraded to the vanilla counterparts for items, but like Ragefire Chasm, for example, needed some upgrading, I feel like, and maybe I'll revert some of that, but I even kind of went through a phase where I went to like Dead Mines, for example, and did a happy medium on certain items, because certain items were white before, and then Wrath changed them to blue, so I made them green. But anyway, probably gonna give Hunter a test drive later and tell you how it is. Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious to see how what's it called is doing, the marksman. I find it odd that so many people played survival in Wrath Classic. I mean, I always played throughout the entire expansion and seemed to do fine damage. I know people were like, why aren't you survival? But I ended up out damaging all my survival friends. I don't know. I like survival, but I think marksman is just loads more fun. It definitely needs a bit of a boost. And beast mastery, I think we gave quite a few boosts to the pets. Implemented a couple things that Blizzard said that they were supposed to implement in Wrath, but never did. Hey Corlock, how's it going? Decky, right? I figured it was you because it was the same avatar. Survival needs love. You know, like I said, I'm good with the survival melee spec if we want to just do a fourth tree. I like the spec that it's currently at in Wrath. I do think it definitely needs love, but it's like explosive shot is just so satisfying if you ask me. So, but I also play a lot of like mage and stuff. So, oh, some of these are all the way over there. So gotta go to Undercity, gotta go to Thunder Bluff. have a Dinkle Stone, so I can't teleport around. I feel like making a 4-3 is better, but can give some buffs and changes to range survival. No, I agree. If you have any ideas, I hesitate to just do like passive buffs at this point in my coding career, I guess you could call it. I'd much rather add like interesting abilities. I've actually thought recently about retroporting chakrams, except that's more of a melee survival thing. But I don't know. I'd have to look. I think what's it called? Not rapid shot. The bursty, fiery damage that I ported back way back in the day. Can't think of the name now. I don't know. Lock and load? No, not lock and load. It's the same icon. Anyway, I could probably do some talents that work with that, or at least like some tier set bonuses for that as well. I think it'd be good for that to do more damage. For ranged, I have this idea to make Wild Quiver type of thing for survival, where it will have a chance when you auto attack that it will send an arrow with a bomb strapped on it, dealing some fire damage. We could do that. I don't know how to work on the visual for that, but we could do that. If you know of a visual that's like that, please let me know. I mean, I can retroport stuff, I can change things slightly, but creating a completely new M2 is like stuff that you would do on Blender, and I just don't want to do Blender. I'm sure there's a visual for that somewhere, though. There's got to be a visual for it. Okay, am I crazy, or isn't there supposed to be... Okay, never mind.
Blood and thunder.
Could use explosive shot visual, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, that's what we have already. We could use the old explosive shot visual, right? Because there's old visuals that we don't use. Or I could revert that one. I don't know. I seem to remember explosive shot at some point being like a 2-click ability, where you shoot it off and then you press the button again and it explodes wherever it's supposed to be. And Docky says, I haven't been doing much on the repack recently. Been getting Prebis and Sod. Such a grind, yeah. I think some of the grindy additions that Sod created is kind of weird. Like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. There's things I like about Sod and things that I don't like so much. Like, I like the raids, I like the dungeons. Those are good. But yeah, I think that in general, it is pretty hard to enjoy some of the other elements of that. Like running around in the same circle looking for certain items over and over again, and getting because it feels a lot like the Silithus war event scenario and hold quest type stuff, where you run around and you get work orders. Sada has interesting ideas, but not my cup. Yeah. I don't know. I think Mage Healer was kind of silly. Been grinding Mage Tier 0 pants for Strath the past 2 days, and tonight they announced that adding Tier 0 to the new currency vendor. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Some of that stuff's fine. Cause like I added books next to bosses for like flask recipes. Probably most of the people that play the repack don't even know that, which is fine because it just means you discover it. I do like currency vendors. I do. Don't get me wrong. We have plenty ourselves. We have, you know, but they're more frill stuff. I do plan on adding more stuff to like Badge of Justice vendors. In fact, I'm adding a few relics to the Badge of Justice vendors here shortly because I redid the Shaman tier sets. But yeah. I'm just checking real quick. I'm looking to make sure that I added this change that I made. Improved. And Flame Tongue, so 888436. Yeah, I probably just didn't add it to the client. Sky Shadow Regalia. Alright, one sec. Get that out of the way. Nope, that's fine. Okay, whatever. Such a weird thing to do. Yeah, so they also added a flask recipe to the vendors too, which is cool. Which, oh, you mean like all three of the flask recipes. Did they end up adding like a melee attack power type flask yet? I don't want to redo the icon that I made for our attack power flask. Also, I don't think most people know that you can get Noth's Plague Bringer recipe from Rivendare in Stratholme. Noth's Lucky Brew, I think, is actually what it's called. Where it increases your runic power and heals you a small amount. No custom flask, yeah. I have mixed feelings about the ever-living might flask that I created for bots. I just think it would be nice to have bots just be easier to buff bots with consumables somehow. I've got to think about how to do that. They did spell power to shield and spell power oil for shields. That makes sense. Yeah, I always thought the enchantments were kind of lackluster for shields. I might look at that. Okay, I think that's all. No, gotta go to Undercity. How do I get to Undercity again? I think I can get there from Thunderbluff, right? Or do I have to go back to Orgrimmar? What am I talking about? I can just go to Silver Moon and go from there. A script for what? I'm sorry. A Dinkle forging for shields, yeah. Not everyone wears shields though. That's the problem. Oh, you're gonna evade, okay. Yeah. Yeah, curious about what script you're talking about that you made. I'm trying to remember what we're talking about. Tanks and healers only. Let's see, so what else? Yeah, I mean, these are the changes I've made so far. So, reworked Lightning Overload, Elemental Blast at level 10, Maelstrom Weapon and Stormkeeper now also affect Elemental Blast. Lightning Shield now has 10 charges, Fire Nova, Call of Thunder. I reverted the Searing Totem thing that hit multiple targets. I thought I reverted that ages ago, but apparently not. Made Magma Totem completely obsolete. Let's see, Tier 1... Tier 1 4-piece set bonus has been reworked and swap places with a 6-piece bonus. See, it's hard for me to remember what I worked on before I went on vacation. This is why I have notes. So... Rogue tier sets are atrocious in vanilla, so... Yeah. I think the tier 1 6-piece is going to be really good for a while. So... let's see, Daki says, script for buffing, right now it does world buffs, so I can buff 25 bots in 10 seconds, spam clicking them, it takes spell IDs, so technically you can replace world buffs with flask spell IDs and do it with weak auras. Yeah! I didn't make it, but I have used it for years on other rebacks, kind of lazy way of doing it if you want a mage using all the flasks. Alright, so I would like to... How do I want to do flasks and consumables? Because there's a part of me that wants like the consumable to be used up on use on bots, but I know people would complain about that because it doesn't get used up currently. But it makes professions obsolete in some ways, but I really do think that if we could give bots consumables easier, it would be easier to do. I just have to remove the item afterwards. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I feel like Rogue is one of those that would need a whole rework tier set wise. Yeah. At least for earlier tier sets. And I'm going to be doing that probably. And I did rework some of their stats already, so like strength, they don't have strength on that anymore. It's all converted to attack power. That's true. It's a temp solution at best, yeah. Well, a temp solution's great. It's just... yeah. I probably just need to get rid of the Lua restrictions on the WoW EXE to make it so that we can actually do cool add-ons and the like that allow you to do stuff that you normally wouldn't be able to. But I'm surprised I didn't level from that, but I guess that's what happens when you're doing half experience.
Hold your head high.
Alright, I was going to Undercity, that's why. That's why I came to Silver Moon. Currently trying to receive, let's see, yeah. Recreate the spell power enchant and oil for shields. Well, do you know what the spell power the enchantment is? Ooh, adding it to Timber Maw Rep is a good... I think that's a good addition. I'll probably do that too. I don't know how I feel about the oil though, to be honest, because like you can already put oil on your main hand. Why do you need it for your shield? But whatever. I mean, at least the enchant would be nice. I did make a staff enchant a while ago for level 60. Maybe that's what we could do as the development portion of the stream. Where am I going? Aren't casters the only one who would use the oils anyway? Yeah. I barely touch oil. All I did was make an item. Yeah. Basically, you probably just take the oil from the weapons and make it usable on the shield. Sorry, I gotta check some things because I think this map is kind of screwy. Yeah. I'll fix the courtyard eventually. My bad. Morphium noticed a few things. Okay, that's actually down in the city. Yeah, I think the sprint mechanic is actually pretty fun once you get used to it. I pushed back on it initially. Light tank probably. Haven't messed with them too much here. Do they even need spell power? Yeah, I think they still benefit from spell power, but most of it is converted from strength anyway. I keep forgetting that sprint is a thing. Yeah, I mean it's very situational. It's really only good for like moving from one place to another or maybe running away from mobs, because it takes some time to ramp up and it doesn't last very long. Probably would be good in things like Warsong Gulch or whatever. But yeah, I mean the oil right now can be applied to any main hand weapon, so I just, it seems like a weird addition. Just can't find it. Or is it alchemy? Is it an alchemy thing? I don't know. Hey, Orange Parsley, how you doing? Becky says, another interesting, I learned this reason why SOD changed a lot of tank stats on items to defense is that every point you are above defense cap, you get attack power bonus, which is interesting. I think the other reason why they increased that is because you couldn't get defense capped before until like tier 3. So I think tier 3, I mean that's what we increased the defense rating on all our gear too for tier 1 through tier 3 for level 60 items. And then I added the stat multiplier for the configs because it still wasn't enough. So, but I have a feeling that their bosses are going to do a lot more damage as well.
I'm always on the winning side.
So, now I'm curious. All right, let's go look. We're going to do some enchanting stuff. show you guys how to port over stuff from Season of Discovery, I guess. So. A shield, spell, enchant. Law of Nature. A new shield that goes 30 spell power and 55 healing, so we're probably just going to do 30 spell power. That seems like a lot. Like, that's going to benefit... Ah, man, that seems like a lot. Let's do 20 and call it good, because that's... Oh, man, that's just a lot of spell power. Honestly, 15 is probably enough, considering. Temporary, yeah, see, this seems like a lot of spell power. We're going to go with 15. Because the spell enchantments for right now for shields suck in general. But 15 is still better than anything that exists currently, so... So, how do we do that? So, first thing first, we're going to find a... We do spell item enchantment DBC. We're going to see if a 15 spell power enchant already works, or exists. It looks like it does. So we're going to steal that, and we're going to slap it on a shield. So we're going to copy this number, which is 2319. I got to look for a shield enchant real quick. So... Crafting. Enchanting, shield, we'll do vitality. Enchant, shield, vitality. We're just going to copy this ID, and my assigned IDs are in the 800 range. So 820016 or the 80k range, either that. Hey Dinkle, just a quick question. Are the animations from classes from Legion now, or same from Wrath of Lich King? So they're the same as Wrath, because animations are a pain in the ass. So let's do spell power. Shield 2. Grant 15 additional spell power. Yeah, a lot of casters don't use shields. You're right. And you could maybe do it an offhand enchantment as well. Good night, really nice work. I haven't tested it yet because the client is very big and my SSD is small. Have a good night, William. Let's see. Enchant item. This misc value is... I'm trying to remember. Okay. Enchantments are pain. Okay. Let's look at... Okay, let's see. 14 equals armor, 15 to weapon. Is a shield a weapon? It doesn't matter. We're just using the same one. And I know I'm going to recreate this because this is the inscription scroll thing. So I'm just going to do that with an 8 in front. I'm going to do this. Oops. Skip ads. I'm going to do 2319. I'm going to move my face out of the way because I don't know if I can keep track of my face during this whole process. So yeah. Come on. So 2319. And there you go, you have the enchant for your shield. Now we just need to apply it to items. So first thing first, we want to create a scroll of enchant shield for inscription. So item template. Scroll of enchant, shield, vitality. So this is the item. At the bottom, we're just going to duplicate that with keys, add an 8 in front of it, because that's what we did to our spell. Call it spell power. Change the description if we need to. I think we're good. And then we need to create a recipe for it as well. And let's see. Oh, wow. Base, professions and skills. Well, that's useful. Enchant weapon. Actually, enchant shield. Let's look for one that exists. Item, scroll of enchants. Oh, good. So we can use that one as well. So 38860. No. No. That's the scroll. Sorry, I need the recipe. Formula. We'll go with the superior spirit one. So 16222. So right here, I'm just going to make a note in my Discord. Shield recipe. And then spell power. If we want, we can put the Timber Ma rep on there as well. So let's do acquired skill, acquired reputation, faction. So that would be look up faction, Timber Ma rep. So 576. Then rank is going to be 7 because that's exalted, I think. Let's actually double check. Yeah, 7 is exalted. Then BOP, make it bind on pickup, which is 1. Change the description to increase spell power by 15. Cool. So we got that. We got that. We got the inscription thing. Gotta change the spell ID that we learn on the actual recipe. And then we gotta do the skill line portion. So save. Alright, I don't need to hit save on that because I didn't change anything. So skill line ability.wc. We're gonna look for the vitality skill. So 20016. Copy that line. Paste it all the way at the bottom. Put an 8 in front of it. And now we have it. And that's it. Then we just add it to the vendor. So let's test it out. So server shutdown 1. That was like a quick and dirty enchantment guide. So it's also a good idea You update item DBC anytime you do stuff like this. So you go connect. Item template somewhere. There we go. Trinity so far. Okay, so got that. Let's do the item set bonuses as well, because I think skill line, export spells, skill line ability goes in the client, spell is going to go in the client. Now I know how to do that. Learn something. Yeah, it can be more complicated. Yeah. Like if there's not an existing ID, then it's, I mean, it's really not challenging, but I think I have a guide on enchants. I might not. So that exported fine. That close, open. I love the theme song music from the TBC. Okay. So now we're gonna go add the item. I don't know if it requires exalted, but we're gonna pretend like it does. It might be revered. Actually, it's probably revered, but I feel like this deserves exalted reputation with Timber Moss, so that's what we're gonna do. So let me just add item to make sure it works. Did I not add item to UC? I swear. Okay, yeah. So it teaches how to permanently enchant a shield to increase spell power by 15. Can't use that item because I'm not exalted with the Timber Maw. Okay, we're gonna make it revered. Let's do revered. Why not? Let me look at what the requirements are for other stuff. Yeah, I mean, the only exalted thing is this stupid defender item. We'll just do revered. Let's just do revered. So 6. Then I gotta restart the server again. I am curious though. And they probably named it something else, but I don't know. Anyway. I restart my client as well. Sorry, I'm looking at an error as well, because I get sidetracked while I'm doing stuff. What is this? Let's see. I'll fix that later. I think I could get sidetracked for a very long time, so... Okay, so we have the recipe. I don't see the spell on there. So what did I do wrong? Ah, 820016. This is why you check your numbers. So I'm gonna note some of these errors while I do this. That's fine. Could happen to anyone, no, it's true. I might need to restart my client, hold on. Okay, cool, so that worked that time. So we're gonna go put it on the vendor, so teleport, Timbermaw. Yeah. That's interesting, because... Did I like update? You know what, I didn't duplicate that one, did I? I just overwrote it completely. That's fun. I'll have to remake that. That's why I'm getting that error. I swear I duplicated rows with keys on that one. Dinkle made a goof. That's okay. Ah, sad. Dang it. Okay, so. Interesting. Where is the vendor? So, this guy. Nope, not this guy. Maybe it is that guy. This guy. Yeah, so I already gave him like pristine black diamond transmutation. So NPC add item that. Fine, I'll write the item ID out. 816222. Oh, it's okay. It'll take 2 seconds to fix. Here, I'll show you. Fatality. Or is it spirit? Nope, that was spirit. Spirit. Shoot. I think it's that one, right? The 13659. I don't know, I'll have to figure it out. Let's look. Oh, wow, again. Sorry, I know I'm multitasking again. Superior Spirit. Okay, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Why is there two... I'm so confused right now. Oh, man. Maybe it got changed at one point. It probably got changed. I kind of like the old enchant better, though. But... okay, so the spell description apparently was wrong. We'll just keep it at the old spell description. I might just change it back to the MP5, or not the MP5 one, but the... Vitality thing. Let's see, I don't want rep for that one. No rep, and then old spell ID, so vitality. I was wondering why. Two zero zero 16. Because you'll notice that these spell IDs are like in the 20k range, so that's why I checked. But yeah, I'll probably make that the vanilla version eventually. What else? So yeah, so we have this on the vendor now. Great. Let's learn it. Make sure it shows up in the proper spot. That we could even change the reagent requirements if we wanted to, but I'm not going to. So let me find a shield to go test it on. I have one at my bank. What's misc value A for enchantment? I have to look. So that one is that's the item, or that's the number from spell item enchantment.dbc. So the 15 spell power is just that ID number. Oh. This is for vitality, so for 4+4 health and mana every 5 seconds, so that's what that is. Yeah. Okay, shield. Yeah, that's where you also create new enchantments if you want to. So I'm just gonna use this shield, why not? Greater and illusion, and then we'll just do. If you want to, you can put this on Vellum as well to make sure that it works. But anyway, I'm probably gonna add a void crystal to that. I'm actually curious what the cool, so 15 spell power is what we got. Curious about the Timbermaw Season of Discovery spell power enchant. Law of Nature. Law of Nature spell enchant SOD. Yeah, it just seems like that's so much spell power. And for something you don't need. What are the requirements though? Like I want to know what large brilliant shard. I actually like those as requirements. Those are good. Let's do that. So items is where you change the item types. So we're gonna go with. So this is Greater Eternal Essence. So we already have that on the item. And then this is the Strange Dust, or not Strange Dust, but whatever it is. So large brilliant shard, 14344. That was 4 of them. And then Essence of Fire. It's actually good use of Essence of Fire because you don't have many uses for it. 4. Essence of Water, 4. And then Essence of Earth, only 1 for some dumb reason. This is also where you would put like what item you want to be enchanted. Let's see. And Righteous Orb, because why not? Seems like an expensive enchantment. That's okay. And just to be fun, we'll change the quality to 3, which is rare. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. That's done. So Orange Parsley says, Dinkle, when you have a chance, could you explain how Flame Tongue Weapon works in Spell Editor? Thanks. Yeah. So Flame Tongue Weapon is actually a server-side spell. Give me 2 seconds. The part you probably care about, though. So again, this is the Flame Tongue weapon for actually putting an enchant on your item as a temporary enchantment. This base point, I have no idea what it is, but this is maybe the duration. I don't know. This is the misc value again from spell item enchantment. So spell item enchantment.dbc will have this spell in it. So ID 523 is Flame Tongue 4, I guess, for whatever rank this is. So this right here is a spell ID. These effect point min-max stuff just set to 100 when your effect type is 3. Effect type 3 means it's a spell ID, I guess. There, you can look up what the flags do on WoW Dev Wiki. But yeah, so there's that, and so the actual spell ID for rank 4 Flame Tongue is this right here. So this is a dummy. You'd have to look core side to see what this actually does. It's probably the part that does damage, maybe. This is the actual spell power that you're granted. So 26 spell power. Then this is really cool. So this is how you can increase, like, so let's say if you wanted to make a set bonus that increases the crit chance Flame Tongue weapon gives you, like, or just say, hey, Flame Tongue weapon now gives you a 5% increased crit chance. You could use this to do that, but basically this is just a placeholder so that you can do that. So it's kind of irrelevant, but for example, improved Flame Tongue. So I did make a improved Lightning Bolt and Flame Tongue. So I did make a spell that did this, right? So additionally, your critical strike chance with all spells is increased by 5% when Flame Tongue weapon is active. All I had to do was this add a flat modifier thing, made my base points 5, right? And then the misc value here, this is for spell effect 3. So whatever you put here is increased in spell effect 3 for that same amount. So, but you have to specify the class mask, or the spell family class mask, which is Flame Tongue weapon. So, anyway. Now I know how Flame Tongue works. It also works for a bit. But yeah, the proc is probably server side, I would guess, since it's a dummy. If we want, we can take a look. Let's see if I have Flame Tongue. I doubt it's going to be in the Shaman section, though. Yeah, so it's not. I do remember changing it. I just can't remember what I changed it to. Yeah, so again, this spell, for example, 888436. That increases your crit chance. I put that on the tier 6 set. Or at least it should be on there because I put it on there like 3 times. Yeah, there you go. So if you want to test stuff like that, you can always just give it to yourself. So cast 888436. And then you gotta cast Flame Tongue Weapon on yourself. But the reason why there's a delay when you click on Flame Tongue Weapon and you right click it is because it's server side coded. So crit chance currently is 8.22. And it's 13.22 with it on, just because of that. This aura, so 888.436. But yeah, any other questions? I would say if you want to know how something works sometimes, it's a good idea to just look it up on the GitHub repository. So, Flame Tongue, I can spell. It's probably in spell effects. Yeah, so spell effects. Yeah, so this is the dummy is actually handling the effect for Lava Lash. That's what that is. But what is handling the proc then? Like, I have a feeling it's probably a spelling spell. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look at it more. It seems to be server side though. Is it the same for poisons and warlock spellstones? No. So, mind numbing poison, for example. Give me a poison name. I swear mind numbing was a thing. Mind numbing? There we go. Coats weapon with poison lasts 1 hour. So it might be handled somewhat the same. But, yeah, so this is enchanting an item temporarily. I really don't know what this base point is for off the top of my head, but just keep it the same. So in this case, the misc value A is 35, so this is just ID 35 and spell item enchantment .dbc. And in that case, it's mind numbing, so 5760. So it's this spell right here that does the actual proc. And it decreases the haste of the caster by 30%. This here is also a placeholder that you can use to modify. But anyway, it's somewhat similar, not quite. Flame Tongue weapon is different, I guess, for some reason. So yeah, I'd say the weapon enchants for Shaman in general is kind of weird. But anyways, it's getting close to midnight, so I'm probably gonna head off for the night. Like the video if you guys liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment in the description. And I will see you guys on the other side of Azeroth. Have a good night.